Hi Stampers, it's Rachel here from rachthestamper.wordpress.com, and I just got this really nice Country Livin stamp set from Stampin' Up. I just got this recently, so I wanted to make a card with it, and I've seen a lot of cards, and this truck is really cool to use. It reminds me a lot of a truck that my dad's father had, and they lived out in Western Maryland, so it was pretty beat up and old, but I vividly remember that truck. And instead of making like a old red truck or old green truck, I remember my grandfather's truck, oddly enough, was purple. A very faded purple. So I decided to do a card that reminded me of his truck. So I went with the Wisteria Wonder, and I think it looks so fabulous the way this card turned out. So I did this as a watercolor card. I used the Aqua painter for it. So it gave a lot of really cool technique to it, a lot of depth. I went back in and touched up a lot of spots just to give it a little bit more dimension, and I think it turned out so nice. So then I just ended up layering it onto a piece of Smoky Slate just to make it a little bit more of a masculine card. And then I used the classic label punch twice, one as a background color to bring this in, just because it looked, I thought it gave a lot more to it. I really like this classic label punch, but I thought it just kind of brought it up a notch. And then on the inside, I just continued the sentiment. Now the sentiment is from the Banners for You stamp set, and this has a lot of really nice sayings, plus it has these banners that you can use in the stamp set, and it also comes, I shouldn't say it comes with it, it has a coordinating framelit set, and I believe it's called Bunch of Banners. So you can have this, and I think there's one more if I'm not mistaken. So this is a great stamp set too, because you can kind of coordinate these words. And also you can use these with the banner punch. You could use these because they have a nice curve to them. So anyway, we're gonna do the same card again today, like this, but we're gonna switch up the colors a little bit just to make something a little different. We are still gonna use the truck. So what I decided was if we would do this instead, first of all, this is regular Whisper white paper, and you can see it turned out beautifully. But instead, I decided to use the thick white cardstock for the version we're going to make today. And we're going to lay it on a base of Always Artichoke, and then I have another layer of Sahara Sand, and then we'll have the Whisper white thick cardstock layer on top, and then I have a regular Whisper white for the inside as well. So let me move this off and get started. Now for this card, the colors I used were Smoky Slate, Wisteria Wonder, Soft Sky, and Sahara Sand. And then I did the sentiment here in Soft Sky, and the same thing here I did Wisteria Wonder, and then I actually brought in some Always Artichoke just to give it a little bit something different. So we're going to use probably some of those same colors, but not exactly. So first to start, we're going to go ahead and ink up our truck. And I decided to go back, since I knew I was going to be watercoloring, I went back to the Staz-On. So we're going to just ink our truck up really good. My Staz-On is older, so I'm going to make sure that I get it nice and dark and wet. Okay, and we're just going to place our truck. Let's see, I'll do on this side, somewhere in the center of the card. Doesn't have to be too high or too low. I really hadn't even intended on putting that greeting up there, so it kind of worked out nicely that I left a little bit of space. Okay, that turned out really nice. All right, so let me move this out of the way, and let me grab my piece of scrap paper. So for our card, we will, I'm going to keep out the Smoky Slate because I did do the tires with that. And I'm definitely going to keep out the Soft Sky. But I think I'm going to bring out the Always Artichoke. Just smush that so I get a little bit more of a puddle. And Sahara Sand is what I use to color in the box on the side and the wood on the back. And I'm gonna hold off on the Wisteria Wonder for now. So I'm going to put that to the side just for now. Okay, so essentially what we're going to do is we're going to just begin coloring in our card, and you can do lightest to darkest, you know, totally your preference. One thing I did do though is I filled in a little bit of the sky first, just because there was a couple of spots under here where I wasn't sure if I wanted it to be grass or sky, so I did kind of do the underneath first, and then I went around and did the sky a little bit. And when you're using this thicker white cardstock, you actually have the option to make this a little bit more liquidy, I guess is a good word to use. You can use your water more. It can be much more of a liquid solution versus if you're using the regular Whisper White cardstock. I mean, you still don't want to get it soaking wet. It's not going to be like the watercolor paper that you want it drenched wet, but it will be a little bit more forgiving versus if you really sopped up the regular Whisper White cardstock. All right, I'm just going to bring this just to the edges. The other thing you could do if you wanted to, which would be pretty cool, is you could actually make this into a kind of a sunset. So you could put the sun behind there as well if you wanted to do that. And then while I'm here, I'm also going to fill in the windows just slightly, just to give that kind of sky reflection to the glass being up. Okay, I'm going to clean off my brush, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the truck. So Always Artichoke is what we're going to use for our truck. And again, this is a pretty old truck, so you don't want your colors to be super vivid. I guess unless you were doing a truck that you refinished or something, maybe. I don't even know what the right word is for that. Sorry if I've offended any car people. Repainted, maybe that's a better term to use. So you can make this as washed out as you like, or if you have maybe a friend or a husband or any spouse really that likes to work on cars and fix them up, you could make this into a pretty cool card for them by decorating it maybe like, or coloring it like their vehicle, or maybe the favorite vehicle that they've always wanted, or their teenage car that was their favorite. Okay, one other spot I forgot to do was the headlights in blue, so I am going to go back and do that. And then the other thing I did, so I just went back with the color that we're coloring in, so this will be the Always Artichoke. And I had a couple spots that I kind of just filled in a little bit darker, just because I felt with the shading it would be nicer for it to be a little darker. Again, by no means am I an artist. I kind of would say I do my best to make something look as realistic as I think it is. All right, let me just go back real quickly and just put a little bit of color on the headlights there. There we go. Okay. So then, since the truck is a dark green, I'm going to go with a lighter green. I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz. And I'm going to just fill in the grass. But I want to try to make this a little bit lighter so it doesn't compete with the color on top with the artichoke. And what I did is I went in and I filled in the grass underneath. And then I went back and kind of highlighted those little spriggy pieces. And then I also kind of made a few mounds of color of, you know, maybe where I thought grass patches would be sticking up or something. So if you haven't already, make sure you go to my blog. We have a really fun blog hop going on for our Stampin' Demonstrator group. It's Christmas in July. If you leave a comment with the hashtag Stampin' Contest, you'll be entered to win a really neat prize. Some little hair on there. Hold on one second. So there's a whole, I think there's 9 people in the blog hop this time. So every person's blog you can enter, so you have 9 chances to win. And I believe we draw for the winner in August. So pretty cool prize. You could use it for a little back to school pick me up once your kids go back. Alright, I'm going to just fill this little box in with a little Sahara Sand, and then I'm going to go back and do the wood. Just trying to make this slightly washed out, but again, not, you know, it doesn't look like the wood's falling apart, so kind of a nice blend of the two. And it's okay, we'll just fiddle in a little bit of the artichoke here since we misbrushed. Just give a little bit more depth to the bottom of the card. Okay, so I'm going to go in now with my Smoky Slate. Let me just clean off my bristles. And I'm going to fill in the tires. A little bit darker here. And I'm going to fill in the bumper. And anything that might possibly be silver, I just went over with a little bit of Smoky Slate. Just gave it a nice bit of depth and dimension. Alright, so I think that's pretty good. Nice card there, got a lot of nice colors. So now, let me just get all these things out of the way. We will keep out the Always Artichoke and the Smoky Slate for our sentiment. Okay, so let me move this off to the side. So now all we have to do is layer up our card. So this was a full panel. I cut this in half. So this is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. No, I'm sorry, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. And then my piece of Sahara Sand is 4 by 5 1/4. And then my thick Whisper White is 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, so I'm gonna lay right on top of there. And then for the inside piece, this is 4 by 5 1/4. So we're gonna just stamp our sentiment. So again, I'm gonna just do the leaves. Just like that. And I think I'm just gonna use the same sentiment because I liked it. I thought it was very, very nice. I'm gonna do this in Smoky Slate. Okay, and so that can go on the inside of our card. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stamp our sentiment with, I'm going to go with Always Artichoke because I think that'll look nice. So I just have some scrap pieces of Whisper White from cutting out, you know, trimming up paper and whatnot. So I'm going to just do these. Same thing again. What did I say I was going to do? Always Artichoke. Sorry. Oh, there's one. And let me just do the other. The nice thing about the classic label punch is, yeah, let me do that over. Let me punch this one first. What I was going to say is that this is kind of ones, if you stamp this crooked, you can almost straighten it out a little bit by the way you punch it. So that was totally crooked on the paper. I mean, well, if you see where I stamped it, definitely wasn't even. So you can kind of move your punch around to make your little punched out image straight. So definitely, if you think you screwed it up, don't scrap it until you check it out. And let's see, I think I had a piece of Sahara Sand, if I can find it, and we'll just punch 2 of these out. and we'll pop it up onto that. Okay, so put some adhesive on the back of these. Oops, lost that one. So I kind of just offset it. I mean, you can do it however you like it. It doesn't have to be perfect or, you know, just perfect for you. So you could raise it up. Instead, you could raise it down. And then what I did is I did a couple of little dimensional pieces. I did 2 pieces of the thin side. That way I could pop this up. Okay. Put that there. And that there. All right, now for this card, what I'm going to do, so the last one I used the burlap ribbon on. And this one I think I'm going to use the linen thread. Oh. I'm so sorry, guys. I think I should just not be allowed to use dimensionals. Oh, geez, there we go. Okay, let me just, oops, let me move this out of the way so I don't ruin my card. So what I was going to use is the linen thread. So what we're going to do is we're going to directly adhere our watercolored piece to the Sahara Sand, and then we're going to pop that up onto dimensionals. Oops. All right, so someone did tell me a trick on YouTube. Of course, I didn't think of using it on the other one, but when you push your dimensionals down, if you put your finger down in the middle of them, I think it kind of pops one of the edges up, so you can get them off a little easier. So let's see if I can do speed dimensionals. Okay. One more. All right, so the other thing we're going to do before we put this down, we're just going to figure out how we want our twine. Do you want it to go across? I think I'm going to go up and down again because I think that looks the nicest because it doesn't really block the truck. So we're going to just wrap this like that. Kind of makes it look a little bit more, I don't know, country and manly is a good word. Goodness gracious. Okay. Let me just make sure this is nice and adhered back here. Might just put another dimensional on here just to hold that down. All right, so we're going to take our card base and we're going to just put our finished layers on here. That looks really nice. And now we're going to put our sentiment. So there you go. Beautiful card. I really like the way this turned out. This color combo is really, I mean, I really like both of them, but just totally unexpected because, you know, sometimes you get into the rut where if you're trying too hard to think of a card, I mean, I wouldn't normally make a card for a masculine card with Wisteria Wonder, but I think this is a beautiful card. It really is very nice. And the Always Artichoke looks really cool. So I like both of these. And you could use either the burlap ribbon or the twine, the linen thread, I'm sorry, the linen thread for either card because they would look really good, both of them together. So once again, if you haven't already, be sure you stop by my blog, rachthestamper.wordpress.com, and please participate in our blog hop. You get a chance to win something free, and we get some feedback from you on whether you liked our cards. There's some great inspiration on there. If you haven't already, please subscribe to me on YouTube under Rachthestamper. You can follow me on Pinterest, Instagram, Rachthestamper, and sometimes I do live Periscope cards. You can find me there at Rachthestamper as well. Thanks for taking time to watch. If you guys have time, I would love for you to stop in my online store. You can get all of these supplies and more. I really appreciate your support. It helps me to be able to make these videos for you. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.